All right, good morning. Welcome to our first class of 2026. We are working on our we're working on our Tai Chi and Qigong. We're going to keep up some of our Chuan work that we were doing before the holidays. So let's get ourselves started up here. We'll get those feet in the ground and just let the head rise. Nice deep breath in and down. Again, we're going to inhale and rise and exhale to settle. One more time, rising up and down. And now we're looking from side to side. And we're going to go ear to one shoulder and hang. And to the other. Again, to the first side. And the second. And we're going to let the head roll. Do some gentle half circles. And keeping the jaw closed, we'll take the chin up and around. And then the other way. Okay, shoulders can come forward and up. And then back and down. And again. And one more time. Then we can reverse. We can up the back, around and down in the front. And we'll cross the arms up and over the head and out to the sides and down. And then we'll go the other way, around and down in the front. And last one. And then we can reach up and droop and hang to one side. And to the other. One more time to the first side. And the second. And we'll bring the arms up over the head. We'll twist the trunk, let the arms settle. And twist to rise. And settle. And then we'll reverse. We'll head the other way. Good. And we can let those arms go nice and loose and wrap around the body. And let's go to shoulder stretches. So we'll cradle an arm, bring it across. And same on the other side. And then we're going to go over the head and pull. And same on the other arm. And then behind the back and pull. And same on the other side. Okay, I hope you astounded and amazed people over the holidays with your teacup exercise. So palms face up, and over the head. And we'll shake that out. And let's head to the hips. So we can roll those hips around one way and around the other. One more time the first way. And the second. Okay, we'll go heel on the ground and toe can rock in and out. Toe on the ground and heel. And same on the other side, heel down, toe in and out. And then toe down and heel. And then we're going to come across in the front, lift up, turn out, and down. And one more time. And we'll head to the other leg. In and up and out. And one more. Let's go from the outside to the inside. So turning out, lifting up, turning in and across. Last one. And we'll do the same on the other side. Out and in. And last one. Okay, let's head to the glutes. So we're going to kick the heel out to the corner. 2. Couple more. And 8. And let's go to the other side. Last couple. Good. And we'll go toe on the ground. Let's get that ankle rolling a little. One way and the other. And then top of the foot. And ball of the foot. And same on the other leg. Ankle one way. And the other. And top of the foot. And ball of foot. And then feet together. We'll get those knees around one way. And around the other. One more time the first way. And the second. And then we're going to stretch down. We're going to hang down towards the ground. And then we'll roll. So come back up. All right. Okay. Feet in the ground. Let's start out with movement number 2 from the 20 Qigong like we often do. So we're settling those arms. We're going to engage the shoulder blades to spiral the palms out. Going to open up through the rib cage. Lift that rib cage up nice and high. And then starting inside, release your belly and your shoulder blades, your elbows. Those hands follow the lead of the insides. Open, expand, and support. And rest. And settle. And the breathing nicely regulated. Open up the belly, open up the lower back and the ribs as you inhale. And a little bit of contraction. And right at the base, press the last of that breath out and then open again. One last time. One more nice deep breath in. And we can let it settle. And come back down. Okay, let's stay with a little bit of 20 Qigong for now. So I'm going to bring the hands up in the front. Let's do some opening and closings here. I'm going to get into the hollow fist to open up the chest. And then hollow and press. And then we're going to let everything settle. Come back down. That little pushback behind the back as we drop down through the shoulders. And then we can roll to come back up again. We're going to open and hollow and push and draw. One more time. And we can let it settle. We'll do one more set for this morning. So coming up, opening, and rounding. And one more. And then we'll let those arms settle. And we can shake it out a little. Okay, we'll continue with a little bit more of the 20 Qigong. And let's go to our stretch across the back with the shoulder and working on the kidney. So we're going to be raising one hand up over the head as we push up high. And we're going to sneak that other hand in behind the back. And then we'll change. Resting and settling. So nice deep breath in, lift up the ribs, settle them on the opposite side. Remember to release the shoulder of the arm that's behind the back. Let the arm rest so you're not pulling it out from behind the back tight and uncomfortable. We'll do one more on each side here. So let that arm rest down and then change. And we can let that settle. Okay, let's get a little warmth in the legs. So we're going to go feet a little wider than shoulder width. And working on our opening and closing of the quad. So we're going to open one hip. We're going to settle into the other. We're trying not to kneel forward or lean forward, but trying to pivot through the center as we just shift that weight a little from side to side. A couple more, and then we're going to change the foot pattern. Okay, so let's go to like the opening of our 7-star boxing or the Beijing form. So we're going to load into that leg. We're going to pick up the heel and rotate on the ball of the foot, and then reach with the arm. Just a couple more. Okay, come on up from there. And let's get those legs really warmed up. And let's work a little bit on our pillar between heaven and earth. And let's go back to our version from the 7-star boxing for this. So we're going to get that nice condensing and closing. So we're working on some abdominal strength as we tuck the pelvis and draw in. Then we're releasing down through the legs, finding the floor. Got that lifting and billowing. And then the fun part, the hinging back and the settling. And then we can push through those legs, roll up through the center, and press up onto the balls of the feet before settling and coming back down. So we're going to draw in and down. We're going to come around and settle. Pushing up through the ground and right up onto the balls of the feet. And again, settling. So we draw in and rest down. Nice circuit up the middle and hinging back, settling, and then pushing up through the ground. Turn that over and press up high. And down. I'm going to do a couple more this morning. So 1 and down. And gather and open. And settle. Lifting up. Turning over, pressing up high. And we'll do one more to finish. So gather and down. Coming up and opening and settling. Picking up from the ground. Turn that over and press up nice and high. And then we'll let that settle. Good. Now I can shake that out a bit. Okay, one of the things we're going to be working on from the 20 Qigong this month is our turn, grasp, pierce with fingers with the 180-degree turning in the legs. So let's start out here. We're going to put our feet a little wider than shoulder width. We're going to go right hand on hip. Left hand is in the palm facing out position. And we're going to start out by shifting our weight into the left hip as we rotate on the ball of the right foot. We're going to roll back into that right foot as we grasp with the left hand and lift up into crane. Then we're going to settle that foot wide and deep. We're going to shift the hips to square as the weight goes into the left leg. And we're going to twist and pierce out with the back hand. So we want that back heel nicely settled in the ground, and we're trying to twist our body across that lead hip without wobbling that lead leg. Then we're going to roll back. We're going to turn the palm out on the right hand. As we roll in and turn in with the left foot, we're going to settle into that left foot. Grasp with the right hand, lift up with the right leg, and settle. Step out, squaring up the hip, and twisting through the core. So we roll back, left palm out, weights in the left leg, right leg turns in. Weight the right leg so you can pick up the left as you grasp with the left hand. Step out and twisting through, reaching out with that right hand, pressing the right heel deep into the ground. Turning again. So wiping with the right palm out, weights in the right leg, turn in with the left. Weight shifts to the left leg. As we grasp with the right, we're going to step and draw and pierce out with the left fingertips. And roll back. Turning in with that right leg so we can then weight it and pick up the left. And then settling in, reaching out. We'll do a couple more. So we'll turn, grasp, lift, and step, piercing. Okay, last one on each side. So weight goes into the left leg as we turn in with the right. Weight goes into the right leg so we can pick up the left and grasp. Stepping out, twisting through. Last one. We'll roll back into the right so we turn in with the left, then weight the left so we can pick up that right leg. Step out long with the right leg, and then twist, piercing with the left fingers. And then we'll come back to center and let that settle. Okay. Let's jump to a little bit of Chuan because we are going to be working on cloud hands, but not the cloud hands of the Beijing form this month, but the cloud hands version that we see in the 108. And lazy tying of coat from the Chuan system and also from Chen style helps us to work on that. So this is where we're going to go palm faces palm. We're going to shift the weight a little to one side, reach out. We're going to settle and draw that in and cup underneath as we pick up the other side. We're going to shift the weight, reach out. We're going to settle the one hand as the other one turns over. So we reach and draw, turn over. We get this nice flow from side to side. So we're exchanging weight. We're sitting into the hip. We're rotating through the waist. We're getting that shoulder, elbow, hand chain. And we're pushing cross body. So as I push into my right leg, my left shoulder, elbow, wrist. As we push into the left leg, right shoulder, elbow, wrist. And just as that hand starts to find its extension, we're leaving with the body to create kind of a whipping motion on the way back. So we want to feel like we push that out and then we draw it back in. So we're pushing out. And at the same time, once we get the feel of this, we're drawing with one side as we begin to push with the other. So that movement, that weight exchange is driving both a push and an pull and an extension. Just a couple more. Last couple. Good. And we can come on in. And we'll shake it out a little bit. Okay, let's keep going with a bit more Chuan work. We're doing some great work in the end of December, November and December, end of 2025, on working on some of the main sort of circuits for our Chuan. Let's start out with what I often refer to as the barrel rolling exercise, pushing out at the top, settling down, drawing in, picking up, pushing out. So now we get a nice connection to the legs. So one of the things we want to think about with the leg patterns is that we're not necessarily trying to roll back really far or go forward really far. We're trying to load nicely through the body and hip into the ground. So when you're coming forward, we don't want to kneel and get too far forward. We want to feel like we're loading ourselves so our pushes against the ground create our pushes and pulls with this circuit. Let's switch it up. Let's put the other leg forward for a moment. So we're pushing out, extending, drawing back, lifting up, pushing out, drawing back. Each one has this little bit more activity on the balls of the feet than we see sometimes in other parts of the Tai Chi and stuff. So we're picking up the heel of the front leg, then putting down the heel, we're picking up the heel of the back leg, and then we're putting it down. And they're kind of rolling and adjusting the ball of the foot. And that actually helps us to sit into those hips a little bit more in both directions. Let's go back to the first direction, our first foot forward, and let's go into our second direction of the barrel rolling. So we're coming out from the hips, we're drawing in, we're settling, we're pushing out, drawing back and settling. Couple more. Last one on this foot, forward, and let's switch that up to the other side. So other foot's forward, settling, or drawing, we're condensing down, we're coming up from underneath, pulling in and pressing. And then we'll get one more. Okay. So now we're going to keep that same circuit going, but this is where we've talked about it gets a little trickier because we're going to separate the arms. So when one's close and the other one's far, one's going to be rising, one's going to be following. One reaches, one pulls, one rises, one falls, one reaches, one pulls. So we're getting that separation. So to start out, a good way to start out is to come into the front leg, pushing out with the back hand, and then we're going to settle and rise, and then we're going to push out with the front arm and roll back, draw in with the back arm. So we're going to go push and pull, Weight exchanges, draw. Now let's take this a little bit less with the fingertips facing forward, and let's start to drop the elbow and press with the palm. So we're going to come up, and you want to kind of lift by not raising the shoulder and the elbow, but by settling the shoulder and the elbow and then pressing out. Okay, let's take that pattern over to the other leg forward. So we're pushing out from the back leg, rolling back, pushing out from the front. Last circuit. Okay, let's go to our second version, out from the bottom, in and down, but let's separate the arms with this one as well. So I'm going to come into my front hip. I'm going to be coming up with the back of the hand, drawing in. As I settle into the back hip, I'm going to lift up the back of the hand of the front arm. I'm going to reach and pull, reach and pull. A couple more. Those legs are getting a good workout, rolling the weight from one to the other. Good. If you're getting the feel for this, this is where sometimes the trap becomes, oh, I know this, and so it just becomes by rote. It's hard to keep pressing, keep looking for those detailed connections in the body. So one of the things you can think about is really trying to feel like the pressures in the ground are what are helping to initiate and move all the rest of the body. Push into the front leg, reach out that front arm. Push into the back leg, reach out the back arm. Again, that nice opening and closing in the quad, the rotation on the balls of the feet, and the nice turning of the spine, shifting and twisting through the spine. All this twisting will help get all the holiday meals digested and moved through the body. Last circuit. Good. Okay, so our 7-star boxing for this month. Oh, it's everybody's favorite challenge. It's called Two Dragons Leave the Caves. We're going to do a lot of one-legged balancing work. Now, one of the things I suggest at home that you can possibly do to help with this is to work with a chair or table or something you can reach to, so you get a sense of folding through the hip and reaching to touch, as opposed to thinking about kind of collapsing in the center. We really want to think about if where my hands join is my hips. I'm really trying to fold over through the fold in the hip. And what I'm trying to also do is get a feel for linking the leg that's lifting with the hands that are pushing. So that I don't want to think about going forward and then lifting the leg up. I want to think about tilting in a way so when I'm kind of reaching up high that I tilt in a way that I'm pushing my heel away from the fingers. So sometimes that's why having a chair or something close you can just kind of rest on, because one of the other things we want to try and do is not lift the hip up sideways, but to flatten the hip down towards the ground. Now, I'm using a wheelie chair. I do not suggest a wheelie chair. It does not give you the support you're looking for, but it gives you the idea of what we're talking about. Okay, so just for a second, let's just work on getting a feel for connecting fingertips down to heel. So we're going to put one foot forward and we're going to reach our hands up over our head. If you want to use the gim hand position, you definitely can. You don't have to. You can just open up the hands. And what I want you to think about is tilting from your hip. So you're creasing the hip, and that's what's going to raise the heel up. So we're just going to tilt. One, and then we're going to come back. We're going to put the other foot out. We're going to raise that. And don't worry about holding the position for too long right now, but you want to tilt and push your heel away and then tilt to come back. So we won't worry about all the sort of fluid flowy parts of this, but the more important part is that feeling of connecting. So that you're like I know I talk about being relaxed, but right now I'm going to talk about being like a board. So from the tips of your fingers right down to your heel, push those away from one another as you try to fold and work on this difficult balance drill. And then come up. We'll switch, put the other foot forward. So another thing that can help is, again, taking your time to roll onto the toe and then allow that to link and reach. Good. We'll just do one more on each leg for today. And we'll start to build in the flow of this as we get going over the month. So up nice and high, get the weight into that front leg, and then fold around the hip. Push the heel away from the fingertips. Last one. So we'll come up and heel away from fingertips. Good. And come on up. Not an easy one. Had to throw something challenging, make us realize how much time we spent on the couch in the last 2 weeks. Okay, so we'll keep putting details of that, but let's jump into some of the Tai Chi for this month. We're going to look at two things this month. We're going to look at the cloud hands with the hand patterning from the 108. And we're going to look for a patterning in the 108 that we don't see much in the Beijing form. There's a posture called fist under elbow, and there's another posture called cross palm that kind of gets these gathering and reaching kind of motions that we're going to work on. But let's start out a little bit for today. We'll probably come back to those next week or Wednesday. Let's work for now a little bit on the arm work for our cloud hands. So in the Beijing form, we had this opening and closing. So let's just review that for a second. So we had that open, exchange, close, open and close, open and close. Now, the 108 version has a little bit more of this rising and expanding. So in some ways, it's got some similarities to the arm work we get in our Fairmate, the shuttles that comes up the center, creates a roof, but then it's going to circulate down and do that again. So really, we're making a kind of a weave of up the center, over the head, out to the side, up the center, over the head, out to the side. Now, what a lot of these movements up the center channel are working on is actually picking something up on the index finger forearm part of the arm and then rolling it out to the pinky side. So we'll just think of that for now. Up the middle, over the head, out to the side. Up the middle, over. Now we don't have to, unlike the kick with heel or the kick with shin, where we get way up over the head with these kind of driving arms, the cloud hands tends to be just a little lower. We're not reaching way up over our head, but we're getting our fingertips at a point where we are over the head slightly. So what we want to be able to do is we want to be able to weave those, 1 and 2. So as the one hand is falling, the other is rising. As we turn the trunk, one hand is drawing in and the other hand is reaching out. One hand is rising, one hand is falling. Turning. One rises, one falls. We turn. So you notice that it feels like you should be doing a lot of reaching with this upper arm, but really I'm just kind of turning my trunk and letting my palm and forearm rotate. I'm not really reaching heavily with the arm. Lazy tying of coat has a little bit more of this because we get right out to the fingertips, whereas this just kind of stays here at the side a little bit more. So we have 1 and 2. 1 and 2. So we're turning the waist. One rising, one falling. Up the center channel, palm in, palm turns out. Palm in as we rise, palm out as we settle. So it has that lazy tying of coat idea, just a little less reaching, and we don't have this kind of paused point in the middle. We're rising up that center channel. Okay, so at the same time, we've done this footwork in the past, and we'll do a bit more now. This is that pivoting on the balls of the feet, where we kind of go 1 foot down, 1 foot up. So let's play with that for a second. Pivot 1, pivot 2, pivot 1. You can kind of think about how as you're pivoting, you could be thinking about that arm coming up as you're pivoting. All right, so we don't even have to take steps here. We could just kind of pivot from foot to foot a little bit. One side, other side. Pivot on the toe. Pivot on the toe. And we said we don't want to try to pivot a foot that's flat. We want to lift the foot, and as we're lifting the heel, we're transferring the weight out of that leg. So we're not leaving a lot of weight in that heel and trying to twist it. We're shifting into the quad and raising the heel. Okay, as usual, time zips on by while we're working on our Tai Chi. We'll have to leave it there. We'll start to link up more bits and pieces. We'll start to look at our cross palm. Let's make sure maybe touch base a little with our brush knee and stuff too. We'll try and pack as much as we can into each class. Okay, shoulders can go back and shoulders can go forward. Arms can circle one way and the other. We're going to reach and lean to one side and reach and lean to the other. Let's finish off with a bit of a deep stretch. Let's wake up our legs for 2026. So we're cross one foot in front of the other and stretching down. And then we'll do the same on the other side. Step across and stretch down. Good. Okay. Chi release comes up, down, and away. And last one, compress to the ground. Great. Thanks for trying hard today. Great to see you in 2026. If you got any questions, things you want to work on, things, directions you like stuff to go in the new year, let's stick around, talk about that, or give me a text or an email. I'll bring it into the next class for you. Talk to you soon.